There's a particular kind of quiet that settles over the mountains on New Year's Eve. It's not the absence of sound, it's the presence of listening. The land itself seems to hold its breath, waiting. In these old Appalachian hollows, our people knew something that the modern world has largely forgotten. That the turn of the year is a threshold, a doorway. And like any doorway, you'd best mind how you cross it. Because in Appalachia, New Year's Day was never just a holiday marked on some store-bought calendar. It was a roadmap for the next 365 days. Every action you took or didn't take on that day would echo through the months to come. Your grandmother knew this. Her grandmother before her knew it too. They carried these knowings across the ocean and deep into these mountains, where the old ways could take root and grow quiet and strong, like moss on the north side of an oak. Welcome back to Legends from the Holler. Tonight we're going to talk about those traditions, the ones that kept a household safe, the ones that invited prosperity through the door and sent evil packing into the frozen dark. Some folks might call them superstitions. We call them wisdom. The most important moment of the entire turning of the year, the very first soul to cross your threshold after the clock strikes 12, they called it first footing. And if you did it right, you were setting the tone for everything that followed. Now, tradition held that the first footer ought to be a dark-haired man, not a woman, not a child, and especially not a red-haired man. Dark hair meant prosperity was coming. It meant the soil would be rich, the harvest full, the family blessed. A fair-haired or red-haired man that could bring trouble, bad luck, hardship in the coming months. The first footer wasn't to come empty-handed either. He'd bring gifts, symbolic ones. A piece of coal for warmth through the winter, bread so the family would never go hungry, salt to season and preserve, and a coin, always a coin, for wealth. He wouldn't speak until he'd crossed all the way inside, set down his offerings, and stirred the fire. Only then would he wish the household a prosperous year. And you'd best believe that families planned this. They'd send word to a neighbor, a good man, dark of hair, steady of reputation, to come calling just past midnight, because leaving this to chance, that was a risk no mountain family would take. The first foot set the path, and the path had to be right. But first footing was only the beginning, because New Year's Day was a day of rules, hard, unyielding rules, and breaking them. Well, that was how you invited heartache straight through your door. First rule, no laundry, not a stitch, not a dish rag, not a single piece of cloth wrung out and hung too dry. They said if you washed clothes on New Year's Day, you'd wash someone out of the family before the year was through. You'd be doing laundry for a funeral, preparing a body for the grave. Death would come calling because you invited it in with your own 2 hands. Second rule, no sweeping. The hearth could be dirty, the floors could wait, because if you swept on New Year's Day, you'd sweep all your good luck right out the door. Every stroke of that broom was pushing your fortune away, coin by coin, blessing by blessing. You were tidying yourself right into poverty. Third rule, nothing leaves the house. Not garbage, not gifts, not even a kindness lent to a neighbor. Whatever was inside your home on New Year's morning had to stay inside until the day was done, because anything that left carried your luck with it. And once it was gone, it wasn't coming back. These weren't suggestions, they were survival. In a place where winter was hard and margins were thin, you didn't take chances with the year ahead. You kept the wash water still. You let the dust settle. And you held tight to every blessing the Lord saw fit to give. Now, if there was one tradition that every mountain family kept, rich or poor, valley or ridge, it was the New Year's meal. And this wasn't just food, this was conjuring. You were cooking up your fortune for the next 12 months. Black-eyed peas were coins. Each one you ate was money in your pocket, prosperity coming your way. Some folks said you had to eat 365 of them, one for every day of the year. Others just said eat until you couldn't hold another bite. Collard greens or turnip greens if that's what you had. Those were folding money. Greenbacks, paper currency. The more greens you ate, the more your wealth would grow and multiply. And pork. Pork was the future because a pig roots forward. It pushes ahead, nosing into the new ground. Never chicken on New Year's. A chicken scratches backward. And that means you'd be spending the year looking behind you, losing ground, falling into old troubles. But here's the secret. The real magic was what you put in the pot. A silver dime. Dropped in with the peas while they cooked. Whoever found that dime in their bowl, they'd have extra luck all year long. Extra blessings. They were chosen by the pot itself, and you'd cook enough to have leftovers. Because eating those same prosperity foods for days after New Year's, that was stretching your blessings, making them last. This was the meal that fed the body and the spirit both. The meal that said, we will survive, we will thrive, this year will be enough. But not every New Year's tradition was about inviting good fortune in. Some of them were about driving the bad out. When the clock struck midnight, men all up and down these hollows would step outside and fire their guns into the black sky. 3 shots, sometimes more, the sound rolling through the mountains like thunder in winter. They were making noise. Holy, righteous, earthly noise. Because the old folks believed that evil spirits, haints, devils, bad conjures, they couldn't abide a ruckus. Loud sounds drove them off, sent them fleeing back into the deep woods where they belonged. And if you didn't have a gun or didn't hold with shooting, then you'd take every pot, every pan, every metal thing you owned, and you'd go outside and bang them together like your life depended on it. Because maybe it did. You were announcing the new year, claiming it, telling the darkness that this household, this family, would not be haunted, would not be troubled. The noise was a declaration, a boundary, a benediction. And when the echoes finally died and the mountains fell quiet again, you could feel it. The holler was clean, ready, and safe for the year to come. There was one more thing, one last ritual that tied the old year to the new. At the stroke of midnight, you'd open both doors front and back at the exact same time. You'd let the old year blow through. They said the wind carried time itself. It carried memories, sorrows, sicknesses, all the weight of what had been. And if you gave it a clear path door to door, straight through it would take all that heaviness with it when it left. You'd stand there in the rushing cold and let the wind take what needed taking. The grief, the bad harvest, the winter cough that wouldn't leave, the argument that still sat heavy on your heart. And when you closed those doors again front first, then back you were sealing in the new year, fresh, unburdened, clean as first snow. It was a kind of baptism, a crossing over. The old year was gone, and whatever came next, blessing or hardship, abundance or want, it would be new, it would be yours, and you would face it the way your people always had. With the doors secure, the fire tended, and the old ways kept. These traditions, the first foot, the untouched broom, the black-eyed peas, still warm in the pot, they weren't just about luck, they were about continuity, about remembering, about staying connected to the people who came before us, who walked these same mountains, who survived these same winters. When you didn't sweep that floor on New Year's Day, you were keeping faith with your grandmother. When you opened those doors at midnight, you were honoring a ritual she learned from her grandmother, carried across the sea, passed down like a hymn. We live in a different world now. The hollows are quieter, the old voices are fading. But these traditions, they're still here. If we choose to keep them, because that's what tradition is. It's not blind superstition. It's not fear of the unknown. It's a conversation with the past. It's the wisdom of survival turned into story. It's your people reaching through time to hold your hand and say, this is how we endured. This is how we thrived. This is how we loved our lives and honored the turning of the seasons. So I want to ask you something. What New Year's traditions did your grandmother keep? What old ways did she carry from these mountains or from mountains like them? Drop a comment below and tell me her story. Tell me what she taught you. Because every time we speak these stories out loud, we keep them alive. We keep her alive. Thank you for watching Legends from the Holler. May your year be prosperous, your table be full, and your doors be open to all the good that's coming your way. We'll see you next time, deep in the holler.